Howdy, folks. Today, I'd like to talk about something that is incredibly important in our dance, yet it is a topic that I feel is often not covered in a traditional belly dance class. And that is the idea of emotion and theatricality. We spend so much time working on our technique because it's challenging and because that is so often the focus of the dance, especially here in the West. But I feel like the technical aspect of it alone is a tiny piece of the puzzle, a very tiny piece of the puzzle. And from where this dance comes from in the Arab world, the emotion and the heart of the dance is probably the most important aspect that there is. But in the West, oftentimes we sort of ignore that in the effort to get down to the nitty gritty of the technical aspects and to learn the greatest and latest and hottest belly dance movements. So today we're going to talk about emotion and theatricality because this is a universal way to draw people into the dance. So in this series of videos, I'm going to talk about 3 different ways that you can easily infuse your dance with more emotion and theatricality, because in the end, that is truly what will draw your audience in. That is the connective language of us all. While not everyone understands the belly dance moves, everyone understands the power of emotion. And if you look back at different belly dance performances that you have witnessed in your lifetime, I'm sure there are ones that stand out to you more simply because of the emotional journey that they took you on, even more so than technique any day, right? And so this is something we're going to play with. In this first video of the series, we are going to look at one of my favorite ways to transmit emotion, and that is the eyes. The eyes are incredibly powerful. And I can hear you already saying, yeah, but the eyes are so small. Like, what if I'm on a big stage? People can't even see my eyes. Well, if people couldn't see your eyes, we wouldn't spend an hour putting on eye makeup and false eyelashes that like make it impossible to open your eyes. We do this because it draws attention to the eyes, and the eyes are the windows of the soul, right? So eyes are incredibly powerful, obviously, when we're in a close-up, more intimate setting, but even in a large stage setting as well. So this first video is going to focus completely on the power of the eyes. There are many ways to express emotion in dance. One of the ways that I am fondest of happens above your shoulders, and that is with your face. This is actually also a part of the body that I find dancers forget about the most often when they're practicing and when they're performing. And you've probably seen it as well. The dancer who is technically proficient and beautiful and knows all the steps and knows right when to do them. But there's something missing right here, right? The face is not engaged. It's not telling a story. It's not connecting with the audience. And therefore, a lot of times the audience is a bit lost. I always tell my students, if you're dancing for non-belly dancers, for people who don't know and love and understand this art form, they don't know an Ami from a triple Saukow, right? They have no idea like what's challenging and what you've worked on really hard in class. But what is universal that everyone will be drawn to is emotion. So that is why it's so important for this to be an element of our dance. So today we're going to talk about 3 different ways that you can portray emotion. So there's a lot of different ways we can play with the eyes. Today we're going to just take a little bit of a sampler of what the eyes can do. And I want you to think about where your gaze lies when you dance, right? It is one thing to dance and look straight forward at your audience, right? How does it feel when someone stares at you straight in the eyeballs for a really long time? A little upsetting, a little off-putting, a little intimidating, maybe, right? So we use this gaze. We can draw the audience in with our eyes, but we've always been told, don't stare at any one person for too long. Or maybe you were instructed as a beginner dancer to just kind of look out over the heads of your audience, right? If it made you nervous to look at them directly, right? So obviously the eyes are very important here. Now, what if you take this same direct gaze and let's take it up to the corner? Same movement, haven't turned my head. Now I'm taking my gaze elsewhere. How does that feel? What does that say to you? Right? Is it a little bit more cheeky? Is it a little bit more coy? Is it a little bit more hidden? Right? Because I'm not looking directly at you. Right? By contrast, what if I took the same movement and took my gaze slightly down and to the other side? What does that look like to you as an audience member? And I invite you to go ahead and take a movement, any movement you'd like, and do the same thing. Take your eyes down to a corner. And how does that feel? Does it feel like you're trying to avoid someone's gaze a little bit? Does it feel like maybe you're a little withdrawn? Does it feel like maybe you're lost in thought? What kind of emotion does that translate? As you're dancing, there's really not often a right or wrong with this. It's just the power to use your eyes to take people on an emotional journey, right? One quick idea with our eyes when we dance, you can often completely draw your audience's attention to what it is that you think that is most important in your dancing. You're doing some amazing hip work, and you draw your audience's attention to that by gazing at your hip. Doing something incredible with your arms, you draw your audience's attention to that because you are looking at your arms and hands as well. So you can direct what your audience looks at by showing them with your eyes what is most important, right? But as you do this, it's almost a theatrical look. So when I am looking at my hip, I'm looking at my hip like I'm actually don't even see my hip. I'm looking like 4 feet in front of me to the floor. I'm directing my gaze towards my hip, but I am not looking at my hip, right? You want to be sure not to tuck the chin and completely lose yourself to your audience. So it's a theatrical gaze. If I am looking, at my hands, I'll actually kind of look up towards my hands. But oddly enough, I'm not staring at my hands. I'm kind of looking out past my hands. So when we are gazing at parts of ourselves as we're dancing, it's almost like that gaze extends out into the room so that our gaze meets our audiences in some way, right? That energy gets further past us than just our body, right? So what I'd like you to play with here, and I'm not putting on any music because I don't want us to be emotionally charged by the music that we're listening to as we drill this. I want you to pick a move, maybe two moves, maybe one soft and smooth legato move. So maybe I'll do inner hip rolls. And I would like you to pick a more staccato move. So maybe I'm going to say, or good old hip drop, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to do that movement, and I'm going to instruct you where to take your eyes. I encourage you for now to try to only change your eyes, but you might find that changing your eyes totally changes your face too, which is cool, which is interesting, which is totally fine. But try to take your eyes in the direction that I suggest, right? So I'm going to suggest either up or down, left, which for you is over here, left or right. I'll say up to a corner, you can pick whichever corner you'd like, and down to a corner, you can pick whichever corner you like. And I would like you, if you can, record yourself while you're doing this, because obviously you won't be able to see yourself in a mirror while you're doing this because you're not looking straight forward. This is another hazard of always practicing in a mirror because we tend to look straight forward and look at ourselves the entire time, which is totally understandable because we want that visual feedback of what we're doing. But then it often causes us, once we get onto a stage setting, to always be looking straight ahead at that mirror that is no longer there, right? So what we're going to do is take two movements that you know very well and you don't have to think about them. And we're going to just alternate between them at your own pace. You decide. And I'm going to give you audible cues as to where I'd like you to look as you do this drill. Are you ready? Okay, pick movement number one, whatever that happens to be, and just get it going. And I want you to look straight at me. Yeah, look straight at me and keep that movement going. How does this feel for you? Right? So you're no longer viewing this as an audience member. You're feeling this as a dancer. So if you're looking right at me, I'm looking right at you. How does that feel? What kind of energy does that give you? What kind of emotion does that transmit to your audience? And now you can see I could do little things. I can look at you like this. I can look at you like this. And it's all very different, right? We'll get into that. All I did was dip my chin, and it's a very different feel, yeah? You can keep that movement going, or you can switch to your other if you'd like, looking straight ahead. Whatever tempo you'd like, you play with it. A movement that you can do easily, looking straight ahead. Yeah, now let's go ahead and change that and take it to a corner. Yeah, how does that feel if you take it to a corner? Did your face change? Mine did. Maybe switch your move if you'd like. Try the other corner. How does that feel? Does it feel different? Don't forget to breathe. What kind of emotion does this charge your movement with? Yeah, now take it directly to one side. Yeah, let's say maybe to the left. How does that feel? Yeah, play with your movement, switch whenever you'd like. Taking it to one side, does this feel a little shifty to you? Feels a little shifty to me. Yeah, do you take it to the other side? Does it feel different? Now remember, your chin is forward. It's just your eyes, just your eyes. Yeah, how does that feel? Feel free to shift your eyes side to side. How does that feel? That's kind of crazy. Now let's take it down into a corner. Now, when I say down, you're not looking at the floor. Don't dip your chin, just your eyes, looking towards the corner. Do you find your eyes follow your movement, or can you keep your eyes to one side even if your movement switches side to side? Yeah, maybe try your other move. Eyes are down in the corner. And how does that feel to you? Do you feel any kind of emotion, or does it seem to translate an emotion or an idea to you on top of this movement? And now here's a rarity to use this, but let's think about looking kind of downward. Now, not really downward, but I'm looking like maybe 4 feet in front of me on the floor, right? So maybe this is a little bit more internal. How does it feel to you? I look down, my hands automatically want to come to my heart for some reason. What does that mean, right? Super interesting. Maybe switch your move. Yeah, let's 4 more counts. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath. Bring your eyes back to center. Think about that for a moment. How did each of your different, I guess not quadrants, but there were 8 different areas that you can look at. How did those different glances of the eyes only change the way your movement felt and translated? So, what did you think? Is this something that you've played with before? Have you thought about the power of your eyes and the direction and what they translate just by merely changing where they are looking, even if your body is doing the exact same thing? What did you think? How did it feel? Yeah, hopefully you can tell, especially watching me, how it feels different as an audience member. And then I encourage you to record yourself doing the same thing so you can watch you and see how it translates on your face. Now, this is just one of 3 ways we're going to discuss being able to transmit emotion and a bit of theatricality in your dance with very simple ideas that go a long way to making your dance instantly more universal and more connective with your audience. So I hope you will join me for future videos. I hope you enjoyed this emotionality video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe so that I can send you fantastic belly dance content on a weekly basis. I really appreciate you being here, and I look forward to dancing with you soon.